Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me at Second Chance Ministry Radio. My name is Frank S. Garcia. The following is entitled The First Four Trumpets of Revelation. Enjoy and have a glorious day.
I want to continue with our outline of end-time events. This is part 2. I hate to say this, and if it were not in the Bible, I would not believe it, but life on earth is about to drastically change. Something very big is about to happen, and it will affect every person on earth. A great upheaval is about to occur. During Part 1, we considered that 5 more world wars are coming, but today's study concerns a topic that is larger than a world war. It was said in the previous study that God's wrath will stop World War III. What is God's coming wrath, and why is it coming? The Bible indicates 14 dreadful judgments are coming, and these horrific judgments are called 7 trumpets and 7 bowls in the book of Revelation. World War III will be terminated by the first 4 trumpet judgments. These 4 judgments will fall on notably wicked places all over the world, and as a result, about 2 billion people will be killed. God's wrath will begin with a display of divine authority that will arrest the attention of the whole world. Watch for this. There will be flashes of lightning from horizon to horizon. There will be violent thunder. There will be eerie voices coming up out of the earth, and there will be a global earthquake. Then his 4 judgments will begin. The first judgment will be a meteoric firestorm that will burn up 1/3 of the earth. God is going to send fire from heaven to burn up wicked places on earth, just like he did with Sodom and Gomorrah. To put this judgment in perspective, 1/3 of Earth's landmass is an area about 31 million square miles, the size of Russia, China, the United States, and Antarctica combined. Can you imagine the scope and consequence of something this size? Shortly after this judgment, God will send 2 great asteroid impacts. The first asteroid, about the size of a mountain, maybe a couple miles in diameter, will impact an ocean at a supersonic speed, and the resulting tsunami will reach several hundred feet in height. A wall of water will suddenly wash away thousands of coastal cities where hundreds of millions of people live. This wall of water will happen so fast that people will not be able to escape. A second asteroid will follow. The Bible says it will look like a huge mountain all ablaze, and it will impact a wicked continent. People within a radius of 300 miles from ground zero will be blown away like dust. But God has something else in mind. The impact from the asteroid will crush the geologic strata of that continent. Instantly buried waste, toxic chemicals, and sewage will enter the underground aquifers, and the result is that drinking water will become deadly and millions of people will die from drinking poisoned water. The 4th judgment will be the eruption of volcanoes. Hundreds of volcanoes will suddenly come to life, and they will spew soot and ash high into the atmosphere. The jet stream will carry this debris around the world, and the middle third of Earth, that is, where 95% of the people live, will become very dark. There will be no sunlight or moonlight, and for weeks the atmosphere will be filled with falling particles so that no one can go outside for long. Even worse, crops will fail because they are buried with ash or there is no sunlight. Global famine will begin, a famine that will last until Jesus returns. Words cannot describe the horrific consequences of God's coming wrath. The Bible indicates in Revelation 6:8 that 25% of the world's population will be killed. If world population is about 8 billion people when God's wrath begins, this means that about 2 billion people will die. Given the power and scope of God's judgments, you can see why World War III will be terminated. World leaders will suddenly wake up to a new reality. God is more fearful than the enemy's nuclear missiles. You might ask, why will God do such a horrible thing? Well, in a sentence, we can say that God's wrath will be in direct proportion to man's degeneracy and decadence. When God's patience with predatory behavior runs out, then look out. The whole world has made him angry with our selfish, decadent, and degenerate behavior. The prophet Isaiah explains God's actions. Quote, "The Lord is going to lay waste the earth and devastate it. He will ruin its face and scatter its inhabitants. The earth will be completely laid waste and totally plundered. The Lord has spoken this word. The earth is defiled by its people. They have disobeyed the laws, violated the statutes, and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, a curse consumes the earth. Its people must bear their guilt. Therefore, earth's inhabitants are burned up, and very few are left." The Apostle Paul also saw the end of the world. He gave this warning to new believers in Jesus, saying, quote, "Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature, sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. Because of these, the wrath of God is coming." In our next study, we will examine the response of mankind to God's judgments, and you're going to be shocked at the things that political and religious leaders are going to do. Here's a hint. The Bible predicts that World War IV will be their solution for appeasing God's wrath. Well, we're out of time. Please bookmark this video and share it with your friends, and hurry to part 3.
Thank you for listening on Second Chance Ministry.